16 years can change everything. Cities expand, families grow apart, friendships fade, and dreams transform into realities or sometimes into regrets. But for Emily Carter, the memories of what happened 16 years ago never left her. She carried them like a shadow that lingered no matter how bright the sun shone over her life. Emily lived in Chicago, a city of constant motion, bustling streets, high-rise towers, and the kind of energy that never really let you pause. At 34, she worked as a high school literature teacher. Her students saw her as kind, but also as someone with a quiet sadness in her eyes. What no one knew was that deep inside, Emily carried an untold story, one that began when she was just 18 years old. It was the summer of 2009, 16 years ago, when Emily lived in a small suburban neighborhood in Denver, Colorado. Life back then was simple. Her father worked at a car repair shop, her mother managed a small bookstore, and Emily spent her free time reading novels under the oak tree in their backyard. She had dreams of becoming a writer, traveling the world, and living beyond the small boundaries of her hometown. But that summer changed everything. Emily had a best friend, Daniel Miller, who lived across the street. Daniel was a year older, tall, with an easy smile and a voice that carried confidence. They had grown up together, riding bikes down Maple Street, sharing snacks after school, and sitting by the lake, dreaming about what their futures would look like. Everyone in their neighborhood knew Emily and Daniel were inseparable. But 16 years ago, one incident changed the course of their lives. It was July when a terrible storm struck Denver. The heavy rains caused flooding in some parts of the city, and Emily's neighborhood lost power for almost 2 days. That night, while the rain lashed against the windows, Emily's father received a phone call. Daniel's father had been in a serious car accident while driving home from work in the storm. The Miller family was devastated, and within days, Daniel's father passed away. Daniel was just 19, and suddenly, his world fell apart. His mother struggled to hold the family together, and Daniel, once cheerful and lively, grew distant. Emily tried her best to comfort him, sitting with him late into the night, listening as he talked about how much he missed his dad. But grief is a heavy thing, and Daniel began to withdraw not just from Emily, but from everyone. As the summer ended, Daniel surprised Emily with shocking news. His family was moving to New York City to live with relatives. Emily felt as if her whole world was collapsing. She begged him not to go, but Daniel simply smiled sadly and said, "Maybe one day, we'll meet again, Emily. Don't forget me." And then he was gone. For the next 16 years, Emily carried Daniel's memory in her heart. She tried to move on. College, work, responsibilities, and life's ups and downs kept her busy. She made friends, had relationships, but none of them filled the quiet emptiness she felt inside. Every time she saw an old photograph or heard a song they once listened to together, her heart would ache with questions. Where was Daniel now? Did he ever think of her? Did he ever miss her the way she missed him? Time moved forward. In 2025, Emily was 34, living in Chicago. One rainy evening, she was in her classroom grading papers when the janitor came by to tell her the school was closing early due to the storm outside. Emily packed up her books and walked out into the downpour, memories of that summer storm 16 years ago suddenly rushing back. She ducked into a small coffee shop downtown, shaking the water from her umbrella. The shop was cozy, filled with the smell of roasted beans and the soft hum of jazz music. She ordered a latte and sat near the window, watching raindrops race down the glass. And then her heart stopped. Across the shop, at a corner table, sat a man with familiar eyes. His hair was a little darker now, his shoulders broader, and his face older, marked by the years, but Emily knew instantly. It was Daniel. For a moment, she froze, her mind racing. Should she go up to him? What if he didn't recognize her? What if he had forgotten her completely? But before she could decide, Daniel looked up and their eyes met. Recognition flashed across his face. Slowly, a smile spread across his lips, the same smile she remembered from 16 years ago. "Emily?" he asked, standing up. Her voice trembled. "Daniel." They both laughed nervously, the weight of 16 years collapsing into a single moment. He walked toward her, and suddenly, it felt as though time hadn't passed at all. They sat together, catching up on everything they had missed. Daniel told her he had lived in New York all these years, working as an architect. Life hadn't been easy after his father's death, but he had managed to build a stable career. He had traveled, met new people, but admitted he never really found the kind of bond he once had with Emily. Emily shared her own story, her teaching, her love for books, and how she had always wondered what became of him. The conversation flowed effortlessly, but beneath the words, there was something unspoken, a quiet recognition that the bond they shared 16 years ago had never truly broken. As the storm outside continued to rage, Daniel finally looked at her and said softly, "I've thought about you more times than I can count. I wondered if I'd ever see you again." Emily's eyes welled with tears. "I never forgot you, Daniel. Not for a single day." That night, as they walked out of the coffee shop together, the rain seemed softer, almost like a blessing. They didn't know what the future held, but they knew one thing: the story that began 16 years ago wasn't finished yet. Over the following weeks, Daniel and Emily spent more time together. They visited old bookstores, walked along the Chicago River, and even made a trip back to Denver to visit the lake where they had once spent countless hours dreaming of the future. Standing there, side by side, they realized that sometimes life takes people apart only to bring them back together when the time is right. 16 years ago, they had lost each other. But today, they had found each other again. And this time, Emily promised herself she would